Hi everyone, this is Sonia from Such a Mom. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today's video is about pregnancy symptoms in the first trimester. And I did keep a little diary log of my symptoms throughout my pregnancy. And I just thought I'd share them with you. I have my notes here. So I found out I was pregnant, I think 9 days post-ovulation. I had a very faint line, I believe, at 8 days post-ovulation, but I didn't believe it. And then I definitely got a positive 9 days post-ovulation. 6 to 7 days post-ovulation, I wrote down that I had sharp pains in my left ovary. I had increased heartburn already. Now, this is a TMI video, guys, okay? Pregnancy is a dirty, messy, uncomfortable state of being, okay? I wrote down that I had an itchy hoo-ha, itchy vagina. My discharge was normal. 8 days post-ovulation, I had mild nausea, on and off. Felt a little hungrier than usual. In fact, I had a midnight snack, which is very unusual for me. And then I had a lot of anxiety over the idea of being pregnant, because I'm very in tune to my body, and I'm like, something's going on here. Am I pregnant? And coffee did not taste right. Can you imagine the devastation of coffee not tasting right? Let's see here. 9 days post-ovulation, I felt bloated and gassy. Again, nausea at random times. Coffee still not tasting right. My heartburn was again increased. I started getting dizzy. With my last pregnancy, I had major dizziness throughout the whole first trimester and beyond. And I got my first positive test and I was tired. 10 days post-ovulation, bloated, gassy, it's pretty much the same symptoms, but I had some cramping similar to as if I was gonna get my period, which was nerve-wracking. I could not drink coffee, and this is when I tested, my line was not getting darker, so I had a ton of anxiety over that. I did record my starting weight, but I'm not going to share that. 11 days post-ovulation says all the above symptoms plus a metallic taste in the mouth, even further increased anxiety over viability. 12 days post-ovulation, again, the anxiety continued. I told myself I need to stop taking all these tests, but I didn't. Lots of cramping and bloating, some nausea, but not as bad as the day before, and my energy was still pretty high. 13 days post-ovulation, I had no nausea, lots of cramping and bloating and gas. I took a nap, but I think I was fatigued due to stress. I started to become sensitive to different smells, particularly other people's BO. 14 days post-ovulation, noticing that my evening tests look darker. So I talk a lot about my tests because I had a ton of anxiety over viability. Nausea is still better than it was the first couple of days. I felt tired in the middle of the day and took a nap with my 1-year-old. Sharp pains near my ovary on and off, and for a little bit at night. And then the same bloating, cramping, gassy. And I was pooping a lot. I had a lot of bowel movements. 15 days post-ovulation, I took another afternoon nap due to fatigue. Still not as nauseous as I was in the first few days. My left ovary started to feel better, occasional sharp pain, but not nearly as bad. I'm burping a lot, and that is still true to this day. This is the day that my period was due, and it did not come. My bowel movements were on the loose side. 16 days post-ovulation, I had more energy that day, still no period, less cramping, less bloating. I was fatigued most of this day. My anxiety was improving because I think I got a darker test line, less gassy, but still gassy. My cervical mucus was becoming more abundant by 16 days post-ovulation. 17 days post-ovulation, Mostly just tired, less cramping, less bloating. At this point, I didn't have any breast tenderness yet, and that made me anxious because both of my prior 3 pregnancies, that was one of the first symptoms. And that is also something that occurs just before my period, or like a week before my period, and I was not experiencing that yet. I had an increased sense of smell even further, and I had a little bit of nausea, but not much. 18 days post-ovulation, very few symptoms that day, which made me worried. However, I had very vivid dreams and nightmares. 19 days post-ovulation, very moody, very tired. In a bad mood, mostly due to the anxiety over viability. I'm telling you guys, the anxiety over viability can just destroy you. 20 days post-ovulation, all my tests were nice and dark that day, so I felt a lot better. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning with heartburn, but it was like a mixture of heartburn and nausea, and that's kind of what I've been experiencing every single day. By 20 days post-ovulation, my breasts started to feel a little bit sore. Not terrible, but a little bit. And I started to have to pee more often. A lot of people think that 20 days post-ovulation is too early to be peeing more often. But what a lot of people don't know is it is not the size of the baby pushing down on your bladder in the beginning. You have an increased blood flow throughout your entire body, including to your bladder. You also have hormones that cause your muscles and ligaments to become more lax. So you are creating more urine, and you have the desire to urinate more frequently, or the need to urinate more frequently. So 21 days post-ovulation, this is when you are considered to be 6 weeks pregnant. I had lots of heartburn and nausea. I had several episodes that day of heartburn and nausea. I was feeling depression. I again had sharp pain on the left side near my ovary. That always makes me worried because with my first, I had sharp pains on the left side, and it ended up being a very large ovarian cyst that I had to have surgically removed because they thought it was malignant. It was not malignant, but they wanted to remove it during pregnancy because that was just how convinced they were that it was malignant. I would not allow them to do that. In fact, I got a second opinion and they agreed that I could wait until postpartum, and I actually didn't get it removed until I think 7 months postpartum, and it ended up being benign, thankfully. They also wanted to take out my ovary, and when I got the second opinion, he actually saved my ovary. Let's jump to a couple days later. 20 to 25 days post-ovulation, I just talk about how I'm becoming more fatigued, more nauseous. So I'm going to switch over to weeks. So 7 weeks pregnant, I was still having episodes of nausea, but it wasn't all day like it became later. But a lot of the same symptoms as 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So I started having heart palpitations and shortness of breath, which is very common. 8 weeks, nausea started to get worse at 8 weeks. I started feeling nauseous most of the day, every day. During my 8th week, I had my first ultrasound, and they were able to see baby, and they were able to get the heartbeat, which was amazing, and it made me feel so much better. They had me do the 1-hour glucose test. I think that was during week 8. I have it down as week 8. For some reason I thought it was week 12, but I have it down as week 8, and I failed the 1 hour, but I passed the 3 hour. For weeks 8 through 12, I pretty much started to have major increase in nausea. It was very hard for me to eat. It was eating that made it way worse. It was always worse towards the evening, and that is the case now. But it was just, and it was like a weird nausea that I haven't really experienced before. It's combined with heartburn, and I was getting a lot of headaches and migraines. With my 1-year-old, my migraines went away. That was amazing. But with this one, I was having a lot of migraines in that first trimester. And then we get to 12 weeks, you know, 10, 11, 12 weeks. I had my first OB appointment. Everything went well, and I had my NIPT test, and that came back very low risk, which was awesome. I found out the gender of my baby, which I was not going to share right now. I'm not going to share right now. I will later. So 12 weeks to 14 weeks, that is the end of first trimester. I found out the gender of my baby, and I experienced gender disappointment. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about feeling gender disappointment. I'm going to do a separate video about that. I don't want to dedicate this one to that because it's kind of long-winded, but I want you to know right now that it is very normal and it is okay. I continue to have all-day nausea and all-day fatigue. I was napping a ton. I was not doing much of anything, cooking, housework, did a lot of sleeping and laying down. So that's it for first trimester symptoms. My 1-year-old is waking up, so I gotta go get him, and hopefully in a few weeks I will share with you second trimester symptoms. Hey. Say no all I want. I won't stop. Sometimes the spray bottle works. Oh, the truck is just sitting there. He's not gonna stop till the truck goes away. All right. The truck is gone. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that it helps you in the beginning of pregnancy, especially for new moms. I know it would have been better if I did it during my first trimester to kind of give more detail and insight into it as I'm experiencing it. But unfortunately, all I have are just my little journal notes. But I hope it was still helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you know it was an acceptable video. And if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to share second trimester stuff, and hopefully I can catch up to where I am now and then post as I'm experiencing, because I think that would be even more helpful. And yeah, so I'll see you guys later. Thank you.